And welcome, everyone, to another episode of Panther Weekly. I'm Tyler Kuehl alongside Cooper Weidenthaler. We've been talking about sports all the last few weeks, Cooper. Grass, on the court, on the turf. Today we're going to let's just say we're going to put our foot in the water a little bit. Talking about swimming and diving today here on Panther Weekly. Cooper, this is a kind of a unique show for us because by this time last year, we'd only been talking about one program, the women's program, which was entering their second year. This year, they're entering their third year. And this year, we're talking about the men's program as well. We'll get to that later, which is entering their first program. The women's team, though, kind of started to establish themselves, Cooper. Obviously, they not just really good in the pool, but they're also really good in the classroom as well. They actually had 6 Scholar All-Americans last year, and they return a lot of talented divers and swimmers in the pool.
Yeah, absolutely. So third season for the women. We'll get to the men in a little bit. But starting off with the females, 6 student athletes were named CSCAA Scholar All-Americans last season. That stands for College Swimming and Diving Coaches Association of America. That's the governing body.
That's a mouthful.
For that sport, absolutely. But those 6 student athletes were led by Lauren Bockheim. She was a first-team All-American, obviously the first in program history. And then she was joined by a few honorable mention honorees, including Emily Bolt, Lacey, and Lexis Mirandette, who are all 3 diving, and then Victoria Posmus and Emma Wallace. So those 6 were named All-Americans, and specifically 5 juniors have been with this program since the get-go, and those 5 are Bockheim, Megan Fralla, Dominika Rapsit, Jenna Skrotenboer, and Jessica Smith. So those 5 started with this program back in 1819 and are still with it. But yeah, plenty of All-American honors last season. We improved our standing in the GLIAC championships from 5th to 4th. And we have more athletes, obviously, starting to recruit better. But yeah, it's definitely has an upward trend, that women's swimming and diving program.
And 4 that I believe went to nationals, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and that included Bockheim and Wallace and the Mirandettes.
Right.
Yes, so there is a lot to look forward to. And here's the thing, too, Cooper. Despite, like I said, only third-year program and only 5 that have been with this program since day one, still a very young core, 16 underclassmen, 5 freshmen with 11 sophomores. So even though now you see this program starting to rise, still a very young core moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned it, 5 freshmen, 11 sophomores, and with it just being the third year of the program, there's not a single senior. So he hasn't even brought any transfers in for this women's team. He has built it literally from the ground up and has really watched it develop over these 3 seasons, has head coach Justin Vasquez. But getting more about those top returners, we talked about Bockheim already. She's the big name to watch. Graduated from Northview right here in Grand Rapids.
That's a pretty good school I'd like to hear.
Yeah.
I've heard that a little bit.
Absolutely. She's from right here in the area, but we mentioned already was an All-American last season. She's the school record holder in 4 different events, including the 50, 100, and 200 backs, and 100 fly. So that's the one you really need to keep an eye on. Dominika Rapsit from Lithuania, also a junior. She holds the school record for the 50 fly, 200 fly, and 100 individual medley. And then Emma Wallace, who really stormed onto the scene last year as a freshman. She was named GLIAC Swimmer of the Week 4 times. That was more than any other athlete in the conference, male or female. So she comes back. Hopefully don't see a sophomore slump out of the South African, but she was really impressive last year. She holds the school record in 6 different events, including 100, 500, 1,000, and 1,650 frees, as well as the 200 and 400 individual medleys. So she's a big name, and also her sister, freshman Rebecca Wallace, just joined the team, so look out for her as well. But those are the 3 swimmers you really need to keep an eye out for. When it comes to diving, Lexis and Lacey, the twins, as well as Emily Bolt, those are the 3 returners coming back on the diving board, all 3 of which, as you mentioned, qualified for nationals. So plenty of good experience, plenty of national experience as well in those student athletes.
And that'll definitely carry down to the younger class and the new group coming in. Well, Cooper was able to talk to Emma Wallace and head coach Justin Vasquez, along with men's swimmer, Drew Hinckley, in this week's Panther Weekly interview.
For athletics, today's sports, swimming and diving. I'm joined by head coach Justin Vasquez in his 3rd season. Also joined by redshirt junior Drew Hinckley and sophomore Emma Wallace. Coach, I'll get started with you. Unfortunately, your teams went back into quarantine last Thursday, but you were practicing before that. In that span, when you got to get in the pool, what did you see from your teams, and what were you able to accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, we had, the weekend before we went back into quarantine, we had kind of a mock swim meet and just we have a lot of new people on the team, a lot that haven't been in a college meet and kind of competed in that format. And so we did that for them to see how we're doing training wise and how they're doing, and kind of just give them a little feedback as far as what to expect. And I think we are already out one time in the fall, and then to come back and only really be in the water for like 4 or 5 weeks, we're doing well, and most of the swimmers, had a lot of the summer off too. And so we're in a good spot, I guess, for what we've been able to do. And so that was nice to see. I'm excited with both teams, with who we have on, and kind of the depth and the competitiveness that we have. And so, we're in a good spot. Unfortunately, I had to make a tough call for us to go back in quarantine and take another 14 days away. But, hopefully when we get back, we can kind of get to where we were.
Yeah, absolutely. You've added 3 new coaches to your staff. That includes Trevor Sisson as the head diving coach, Alec Cant, and Nate Kazicki. Can you talk about, why you chose those 3 and kind of what they bring to Davenport swimming and diving?
Yeah, so obviously we lost Don last spring, and so that was tough. And so at the end of the summer, we had to, get back on and try to figure out, how to bring some more coaches on. And obviously we lost our other assistant coaches too, for graduation, MBA programs, and that sort of thing. And so once we were able to kind of post the position, I had a few people in mind, and Alec kind of, as I had more conversation with him, definitely caught my eye, and I thought would be, a great fit for what we're trying to do here, and the philosophy that we're kind of, trying to use to build this program. One of my things as a head coach, I don't like to control everything. I like to allow the assistant coaches to take responsibility and have pieces of the program. And, we all have, something that we're pretty good at. And so allowing them to just kind of come in and control parts of the program, I think, and have some responsibility in that, I think allows them to be the best kind of version of themselves, and they get excited about it. And so I know that I could trust the coaches. That's one of the big things as far as when I'm looking at bringing on a coach is, can I trust that person to just kind of take something over? And so, I trust Alec in that ability, and he's done an amazing job recruiting already. Kind of just jumped right in. He had great experience in the past as far as in his short time. He hasn't been coaching very long at the college level, but he's been in some great programs and great situations where he has had to kind of lead. And so I like that about him. Nate's been amazing. He's done a good job. He's kind of taken over our butterfly group. I love what he's been doing with the sprinters and the strength and conditioning. And so he's it's another situation with him where, I trust him just to go take write the workouts for the flyers and figure out what you're going to do with the strength and conditioning and with the sprinters. And so just having 2 people on staff, and we had that last year. And so it's nice to kind of continue that, where we can just trust our coaches and we can split up. And, now it's not, 40 people to one coach, but we can split up and it's, 12 or 15 people to one coach, and allows us to create relationships with the athletes. And I think that's just going to benefit us all. And then Trevor, kind of just what I've seen as far as when they're training and we're training, I really love what I see with what he's doing with the group. They're doing a lot of dry land, which is fun to see over there. I don't know if there's going to be any other divers in our conference that are going to be in better shape than what our divers will be. They're definitely working hard over there, and it's fun to see. And they're throwing some tough dives, every once in a while here or there, and it's just really fun to see how they're developing. Because for us to be a successful program overall, it's swimming and diving, and so diving's so important to be, a team that wants, if we want to be competitive and have a chance at winning conference titles or doing well at the national level, diving is very important. So seeing what he's doing with them over there, it's fun to see.
Absolutely. So plenty of new coaches, and then just talking more about your team. You've been in quarantine, in and out of it, obviously this fall, but with that, what's the team morale like? And as a coaching staff, what are you guys doing to keep your student athletes in a competitive mindset, keep them going, keep them driven?
Yeah, I think I'd be lying if I said that team morale is good or great. I think we're doing okay. I think the kids are doing the best that they can do with the situation that's handed to them. It's tough as a swim and dive program. It's tough in our sport. Our practice is conditioning, and so some of the team sports, the first parts of their seasons are conditioning, or, every practice for us is conditioning. So when we miss one practice, it can get to us. And that's just kind of the nature of our sport. If we're missing one time out of a year, it gets to us. And so it's tough right now. They've missed a lot of the summer, and they're doing the best that they can do. As coaches, we're doing the best that we can do. Our season's also the longest season, in a college sport. I would say, the cross country kids that do indoor track and outdoor track are pretty close to it, or a little bit longer than us. But outside of that, our first official practice is always, for us, the Friday after Labor Day. And so we go from September all the way till March. We're considered a winter sport, but we start our 20 hours of Kara reporting, right away when school starts. And so, thankfully we have really great kids on the team, and I think they're trying to stay as positive as they can. As like I said, as coaches, we are too. I'm a pretty positive person, and I try to, show that whenever I'm around them. But man, I have tough days too, and if I'm having tough days, I know they're having tough days. And so to say that it's good or great, I don't think I can. It's a hard situation right now, and we're just trying to stay engaged with them. The first go around, we were doing video workouts where they're. I have a membership to some video workouts, so we were all kind of doing their thing and setting the videos up, and so we were trying to stay engaged that way. This going around, I've been sending them some workouts. It's been nice weather, so on Monday, people were sending in, videos of them walking or jogging with their dogs, and so that was kind of fun. But we're just doing the best that we can, and I'm just trying to keep it in mind that we're not the only team in this situation. All the other swim and dive programs are in a situation like us too. So I'm grateful and thankful that we have a team of positive people, and they're just doing the best that they can. I really haven't heard them complaining too much, but I know they want to. I know they want to, and I feel for them. Not only just missing swim practices, but the fact that when we're in quarantine, they have to do school from their dorm room or wherever that is, and it's tough. It's a tough situation. So what I do know is when all of this passes, they're going to be stronger and better people for it. So it's just kind of getting through it. But it's tough for all of us right now.
Absolutely. Lastly, Coach, do you have any idea what the spring may look like? And once we flip over to 2021, what that may include?
Yeah, hopefully, we'll see. Obviously anything can change, within a day. But we do have meets scheduled. We're supposed to start off January 9th with Indy and Grand Valley. We're looking at being in touch with their coaches. We're looking at, if we can get the pool, potentially making that a 2-day meet where we go January 8th and January 9th. We're trying to, there's this thing for us where we need to have 5 dates of competition. And so trying to fit those in a short period of time, we're going to do our best. But we have Grand Valley and Indy set up for a meet. Thank goodness we have a nice facility in Kentwood where we can really spread people out, spread people throughout the stands, which will allow us to actually have a meet like that with those numbers. We're supposed to swim Hope College, go out to Saginaw Valley, have Olivet Nazarene come in. And so, it's not even just us, but it's whatever their schools are going to allow them to do too. And so, we've been working on we've been having meetings with the GLIAC head coaches on what conference is going to look like, and there's a lot of different options for what that is. And it sounds like we might be at Holland Aquatic Center, so that's nice, really nice facility. So I who knows? Like I said, it can change any day, but we do have stuff set up, and hopefully we get the chance to compete.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, thank you. We'll switch it up to you, Drew. Redshirt junior Drew Hinckley transferred over from Saginaw Valley. Drew, when did Davenport first reach out to you, and what was that recruiting transfer process like?
So Davenport reached out to me about almost a year ago, around this time, about mid-October. And the process going around the second time was pretty painless. It was pretty easy. Once you go through it your first time as a high schooler, you kind of learn just about the process and how it is. And then when you go to school for the first time, you really find out what things that you're looking for, whether it's coaching staff, whether it's academic programs. So going around the second time, it was pretty easy, and Davenport definitely checked off all the boxes for me.
Yeah, coming from Saginaw, you've already swam collegiately. So what's it like joining a brand new men's program? This is the first season for Davenport men's swimming and diving. So kind of what do you bring to that as far as experience?
It's been a really cool experience to be able to kind of create a new culture and to create something just different with, there's 17 of us guys, and we're all, there's 4 of us that have competed collegiately, and then the other 14 haven't. So it's cool for us 4 older guys who have swam in the GLIAC or at other community college, like, to be able to really share our experiences with the younger guys and to try and coach them through this long season. Like Justin said, it goes from September all the way to March, and it's definitely a grind. So it's been good for the older guys to kind of help the younger guys through the experience and try to get them going. So
yeah, we touched on it with Coach a little bit, but you haven't been able to compete in meets, so it's just been practice time. So practice is important even when you are competing in meets. So now that's the only time you're getting in the pool. So how much more important is it, and kind of what's that been like?
Oh, it's been really important. Not being able to race, like you said, that's really how we really push ourselves and get better. So it's been great to, at practice, we've really been upping the intensity and really been racing each other. And we've had some really fast times been thrown down at practice, and the guys and the girls, like, we really like to get up and race each other and really like to push each other to the max. And I think that's really been showing. We had a great showing at our mock meet, and just really upping that intensity has showed me that, like, this team is ready to do big things, because once we do get into that race mode and we do start to get that taste of competition for other teams, I really think it's just going to elevate all of us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Drew. Lastly, we've got sophomore Emma Wallace. Emma, first coming from South Africa, how did you learn about Davenport, and what was your recruiting process like?
Well, I actually learned about Davenport through a friend. She had been in contact with Justin and the university, and she came back to me and she said, "Hey, I've just spoken to Justin at Davenport University, and I think the team environment, the university, the programs, the location is everything she thought I would be looking for." So she gave me his contact details, and I emailed him and just said, "Hi, my name's Emma. These are my details. This is what I'd like to study." And from there, we just had a couple Skype calls. And yeah, then I just came over here. My experience, the recruiting experience, I felt it was quite long, but it was very enjoyable. It was easy, and yeah, it was overall really good.
So yeah, when did you move to the U.S. from South Africa, and what, tell us about that experience and that transition to the States?
I moved over here the August of 2019, just before the start of my freshman year. And from the minute I landed, America has been beautiful. My experience has been incredible. The people are so lovely, so helpful, so kind. And I believe that has made my transition very easy. Obviously, I moved here. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything about Davenport or even Michigan. And families have opened up their homes. My teammates have been incredible. My friends, teachers, coaches have all been so supportive. And yeah, my transition has been a lot of fun. It has been very easy.
Lastly, your sister and teammate is freshman Rebecca Wallace. How much of a role did you play in getting her to come to Davenport, and what's it been like having her as a teammate?
I think the main role I played in my sister coming here was simply just showing her what America was like. Neither of us had ever been here before, so I think me just coming over here, telling her about the people I'd met, about the team, the university, everything, I think that is the main role I played. And obviously, we are very close in age and have never been apart for a very long time. So I think the idea of us being together at the same university was a big role in her coming here. And having her as a teammate has been incredible. We have always been teammates. But since she moved here, I think just every day getting to see her thrive in such a positive environment and being part of the process, training alongside her, seeing the progress she makes every day it's been, I think, everything I've ever wanted, she's ever wanted, and my parents as well.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks. Again, stay safe. I know it's a really tough time right now, but just hang in there. We can't wait to see you guys compete next year. I promise it'll be fun to see you guys out there in the pool.
Thank you again to Emma Wallace, Drew Hinckley, and head coach Justin Vasquez for the interview. So we've covered the women's side. We flip it over to the men's side. First year for the program, so plenty of fresh faces. But Tyler, talk to us about maybe some names that we should keep an eye out for this upcoming season.
Well, similar to the women's team, Coop, there is a lot of freshmen on this team. Actually, more freshmen than any of the other classes. The most that the Panthers have on the men's side is similar to the women's. Only a couple of redshirt juniors that are transfers, a couple of sophomores as well. And talking about one of the highlighted freshmen, Jerry Aguian, he's a local kid right down the road over there near in Holland. He's West Ottawa High School grad. Pretty good. He's a freestyle swimmer, really good at the 50-yard, the 100-yard. Helped West Ottawa to a 2019 state championship and 7 straight conference championships, because obviously there's more than one way to win a conference championship in swimming, so many different events. So he'll be a guy to definitely watch out for. Drew Hinckley, who you talked about, that's a guy that's very familiar with the GLIAC Conference because he's a transfer, one of the 3 transfers from Saginaw Valley State. A redshirt junior from Farmington Hills, went to Harrison High School. Is a freestyle swimmer, butterfly swimmer, a guy that can do both, a guy that can compete in the medley if he wants to. Spent 2 seasons with Saginaw Valley State, helped them win a couple of showcases. As a 2-time All-American in high school at Harrison High School in both the 200 and 400 freestyle relays, a 4-time named to All-State 4 times in his career, 2 conference championships. He's a guy that's going to be looked upon as a leader for this new Panther team. Joe Leonard, he was from John Glenn High School over there in Westland. He's an interesting one because he's a breaststroke, he's got freestyle, qualified for states as well as a senior, named All-State as a senior. But he's a guy, you talk about how good academically our women's side was. This guy was not just an All-State swimmer and a great athlete, he was the school valedictorian. So this guy is not just good at moving his arms really fast in the water, he's also good at using his brain.
Right.
Which is funny because all the chlorine they intake. Hey, my wife was a swimmer. Trust me, I know her really well, and you know her as well.
Absolutely.
She never watches these, right?
I hope not.
Another redshirt swimmer that they have, and another transfer as well, and one of the other Saginaw Valley State transfers, Cameron Whitfield from Walled Lake Central High School, is over there at West Bloomfield, a freestyle swimmer, was redshirted last year, had a couple good meets as a freshman at Saginaw Valley State. Didn't do a whole lot last year, but in his high school career, he holds records in the 50 free and the 200 and 400 medley relays. He's part of those records at Walled Lake High School and qualified for states all 4 years as an individual. So he is a very talented swimmer as well. And the 3 divers that the Panthers have, at least for the men's side, all very talented, all freshmen as well. The only one that's kind of, I guess you could say, has the experience is a redshirt freshman, Mason Mordick. He comes from Jenison High School, once again, right down 196 over here. Qualified for states as a junior and a senior. 2-time Student Athlete of the Month there at Jenison High School, home of the Wildcats. Then you have Nick Schmid, who is from Farmington High School over there in Farmington Hills, another Farmington product. Holds school records in the 6 dive and the 11 dive. All-state as a senior, 3 times a state qualifier as well. And Gabriel Ziegler from Bloomfield Hills, he holds the record as well at his own school, at Bloomfield Hills High School, for the 6 and 11 dive. Was a team captain, qualified for states 4 times, and all league every year. So that's really good to see the Panthers, because there's a lot of the names that I did not mention that were all-state, were all-conference, very big names, very successful in their careers at the high school level. And like we said, a couple of guys that have collegiate experience as well. So there are guys on this team that are both experienced at the collegiate level and winners and very successful at the high school level as well. So Vasquez has done a really good job of bringing in a lot of talented members to this first-year Panther team.
Yeah, he's recruited high school success very well and academic success as well. So
Yes.
two things you want to see, inside and outside the pool, you want to excel. But exhale, good job.
Well, thank you.
That was good. Good breakdown, as always.
I took a week off to make sure I could be ready for the next one. I was getting so worn out.
Killed it.
I mean, it was Ryan's fault. I'm going to blame Ryan on that for me being worn out.
Blame Ryan for everything.
Always blame Ryan. Before we let you all go, though, before we let you go on with your days, we got to thank our sponsors, of course, here on Panther Weekly. As, of course, Ucellos. I was there last night for the Panthers Ucellos Coaches Show.
Which is on our YouTube channel.
Which is, if you're watching on YouTube, just click the suggested links.
Couple extra clicks. That's it.
That's all you got to do. Watch that and make sure you go to Ucellos, get their pizza puffs, of course.
Delicious.
Always got to get those.
Yep.
You can also go to Chick-fil-A right down the road. Actually, over on Kalamazoo Avenue, we're over there in Kentwood. There's a good Chick-fil-A there. And after you eat all that food and you realize you want to go work out after that, be sure to go to Gazelle Sports to get your awesome athletic equipment where you can buy Adidas. Look at that, Adidas.
We point every time.
Well, yes, because I can't point at my shirt because
We
of
have
my
to.
arm. No one can see my arm.
Adidas.
Oh, yeah, you have a shirt on. You got your Ron Geidenheier looking shirt on there.
Yep.
So be sure to go to Adidas, Gazelle Sports, and make sure if you do work out and you want some more food, go back to Ucellos and Chick-fil-A. And you can also go to Meijer, too, to get more groceries.
Absolutely.
Thank you once again for watching this episode of Panther Weekly. Can't wait to see the swim and dive team get back in the pool. We'll see you next week here on Panther Weekly. For Cooper Weidenthaler, I'm Tyler Kuehl. We'll see you next time.